Hello everyone, I'm Arvind Nair and welcome to Winnerz Academy. So today we are going to do some mock analysis. The mock which I gave today, I secured 143 out of 200. So let's jump into the analysis. First, I will just let you know what my plan was while I was giving the mock. So this was my idea. So there are three. Just the camera. Okay. So this was my idea. I have 150 questions and I have 200 questions and I have 150 minutes. So I just divided, like I just gave every section like 40 questions a section and 30 minutes for it. This was my approach. Obviously, it's not necessary that I should complete every 40 questions in 30 minutes. Let's just say there are like puzzles and DI in the first 30 questions or first 60 questions. Of course, it will going to take more than 30 minutes. So I might, let's just say it take 40 minutes here and some like 45 minutes, not 45, but okay, let's just say 45 minutes. So 85 minutes for 80 questions. That sounds too much because now you have only like 65 minutes for remaining 120 questions. But the one thing you have to understand is that all your puzzle questions are completed, all your DI questions are completed. So the only remaining questions are left are the English and abstract reasoning and all the questions which usually takes maximum 1 minute or 1.5 minutes, and most of the questions which takes less than a minute. So that's the approach that I took. That I choose to take 30 minutes for every 40 questions, and whenever there are a lot of, if in case in the entire 40 questions there are a lot of puzzles and DI, I wouldn't mind giving extra 5 or 10 minutes in that section. But of course I would make sure that it doesn't go more than like 10, 15 or 20 minutes. Like I won't take 50 minutes for the first 40 questions or something like that. So that was the approach, and I'll make sure like if that in that first 40 questions, if the puzzles were like easy and DI was easy or something like that, of course that should not take more than 40 minutes. Somewhere like 35 minutes is enough. But if those were like lengthy puzzles or tough puzzles which takes times, but make sure that I secure marks, then I don't mind giving time. So the idea is not going exactly as I planned, but to be more flexible. You have to be very flexible during this question because you don't know what kind of questions come. It can be very easy puzzle, it can be very medium to hard type of puzzles. Not just puzzle, the entire Mba Cet question paper. So that's the approach I took. So the idea was simple: 30 questions, 30 minutes for every 40 questions. And if you can see here that this is 25. Like I will make sure, I'll try my best that I tried my best that I secured 25 marks out of that 40 questions. That 25 questions should be correct. And of course 25 is the average, which is basically means, let's just say I didn't do well in the first 40 questions. I might I have that I think I secured 18 or 20 correct answers in the first 40 questions, and I have to make sure that the next 40 questions I should gain more marks. But if I secure more marks in the first 40 questions, let's just say I'm sure that I secured 35 marks in the first 40 questions, it's a bonus thing for me. So obviously in the remaining questions I don't have to, like let's just say I secured something like 15 marks here. Okay, instead of in the first 40 questions I only secured 15 marks. I know that there are many questions are wrong or many questions I skipped because it was tough. Then I will try to attempt even the medium to tough questions in the remaining 40 questions, because I have scored already less marks, so I have to make sure that I gain a lot of marks. But if I gain 35 or 30 marks, okay, let's just not overestimate. Let's just assume that I secured 30 marks in the first 40 questions, and there are certain questions which might be easy to medium but it's taking a lot of time. Then I will choose the question because I already secured good enough marks. Now this is my approach. It's not necessary you do the same thing. We can attempt the questions even if you can solve, even if it takes more than a minute or let's just say 2 or 3 minutes. It's up to you. But I choose not to do it if I secure like 30-35 marks. If I'm securing like 25 marks and all, obviously I will attempt the questions even if it's taking more than a minute or so. So that was my approach, and if you can see here, this is the percentile for every marks. Like this is an average percentile. It's not necessary it's going to be the same all the time. 100 marks you secure 96 percentile. 110 it's somewhere around 97 or 98. It varies, but this is the range that the percentile you get when you score 110 marks, or 120 marks you get 99 percentile, 130 99.8, and 140 99.99, and I secured 143. Now even though it seems like I secured 99.99 percentile, but what I truly feel was this exam was quite easy, because the coding, there were a lot of like 10 to 15 questions of coding decoding, and all of them were easy. Maybe 2 or 3 questions were hard, but majority, like if 12 questions are put in the coding, you can solve, and it's easy as well, which basically means you're securing those questions in less than a minute time. That's a huge advantage, huge, like it's a bonus thing. Same way, code inequality was easy, syllogisms was easy, there was no machine input output, number series was easy. I don't think there was any quadratic equations. There were two puzzles which was very hard, but that was the only thing that was hard, so I chose to skip it, eventually saving a lot of time, and the remaining puzzles were easy. DI was easy, abstract was okayish, like medium, like if there are 25 questions you can secure 16 to 17 questions, so it wasn't bad. So overall I would like to say it was easy paper. Some like English and critical reasoning was something like tricky, you can say. It wasn't hard, like it's not like you can't understand, but there would be like questions which would be like, there will be two options which you are not sure of. So you can understand what the question is and you might get the right answer, you might almost get the right answer, but there will be some trick in that. So that's the only not so easy part, but still it was very much solvable. So for me, I don't think 143 is something great score, like it's a great score, but it's not like 99.99 percentile. I would like to say it could be 150, would be 150, not even 150. I think a topper can secure 155, 160 here. So 155 would be a 99.99 percentile. So obviously 145 here, 135 here, 125 and 115. So this exam maybe 100 is like by my 143, which basically means I think I secure 99.8 or 99.7 percentile, even that is possible because it's very easy exam. It was very easy exam. But still, let's see how I secured 143. And before that, this is one more thing that I want to show, that the idea of giving the exam was making sure that I will give all the easy and medium questions enough time. If not enough time, I will make sure that they are right answers. Like hard questions, okay, skip. There is no question about it. I don't know how to solve it. I won't be wasting any time in that. I will just skip it. But I will make sure that my easy questions are right and my medium questions are right. Medium type of questions are right, because that is where the questions where you can secure as many marks as possible. So basically, this is not exactly how it comes, but you can say it's an average thing. That if the questions are like this, like 60 easy questions, medium 60 questions, and hard 80 questions, that's total becomes 200. But if it's like, let's just say 80 easy questions and 60 hard questions, so this is the easiest possible thing that can happen to one student, that where 80 easy questions and 60 medium questions, that itself gives 140 questions, 140 solvable questions. So that's the best thing that can happen. And the worst thing that can happen is obviously 60 easy questions and 80 hard questions. There is a good chance you can get like 30 or 40 easy questions, 30 or 40 easy questions, but I don't think it will be like 80 or 100 hard questions. It would be like medium questions will be, the range of medium questions will be higher in this type of situations. Sorry, this type of question, in this type of scenarios. So hard questions will not be, I don't think 80 questions will be hard. It has to be somewhere around 70, 60, maybe 50 hard questions. Majority of them will be medium questions, which are like tricky questions, which might seem like you don't know how to solve it, but if you don't know the formula or if you don't know the trick to solve it, so those are not hard questions. Like some puzzles which might take a lot of time to solve, those are hard questions. Some puzzles which you can't even understand what they are asking, that those are hard questions. Some DI or some word problems, those are the questions which can be very, very hard. Some coding, decoding, the code itself is very hard to decode. Those are hard questions. But even that, all of them it will say, let's just say that some like 50 to 60 questions, what I assume are the hard questions. Medium questions are the tricky ones, and so that it might seem like it's tough, but it might not necessarily be tough. So that is what you have to be. That's the part where people usually lose marks. Easy questions, everyone will attempt. 30, 40, 50 questions, everyone can secure marks. If you miss it, that would be very, unfortunate. You should not miss any easy questions. Medium questions, understandably, but that's where your skill lies. That you should not miss out any medium questions. So what I am doing here is, if you see, if this is the usual pattern, 30 easy questions, medium 90 questions, hard question, this gives me 120 marks, right? So here, if I see this, 25 questions are correct out of 40, 25 questions correct out of 40, like that way I am securing 125 out of 200, which is not 99.99%. But what we are missing here is remaining 75 questions also I am attempting. Obviously, in among those 75 questions, some of them will be calculated guess, which like 125, 125 is the correct answers that I'm guaranteeing myself. 75 questions, out of 75 questions, there will be some questions which I will be calculate, like it would be a guessing, but it would be a calculated guess, which I will like, I'm not sure, but I can be like 60% sure about this answers and all. And the remaining questions might be like pure guesswork. So I have 75 questions which are going to be a guesswork, but I'm going to attempt it. So I can at least convince myself that I can secure at least 10 to 12 marks in that. There's a good chance, like there are 75 questions, there are 5 options, so basically you can secure 15 marks. That's on an average. It's not necessary you will secure 15 marks, obviously, because there are so many varied options, can be anything. It's like you cannot predict which the options are. So even if you select all A option or all B option or anything like that, you cannot guarantee you 15 marks, but at least you can guarantee that there will be some 8 to 9 marks, or and if you can get some of the guesses right, it will be 12, 13 marks. So that way 125 plus that 10 or 15 marks that I'm going to get is what I assume. Luckily I got 143, but again that is also because of it was very easy. So if this was the range which I said earlier, 100, 110, 120, 130, 140, if this was the usual exam difficulty, then what 143 means for me is actually somewhere like 130, 135 something. Not even 135, 132 or something. That's the marks which I would have given as compared to 143 if the test was like the usual pattern that usually comes in the exam. So that way you can see that I'm securing still 99.7 or 99.8 percentile, which basically means more than 125, but like I'm happy that I secured 143 marks, but I could have secured more, but never mind. I was very pleased with my performance. Later on I realized that I shouldn't have been pleased, because a lot of questions were easy. Because since I'm selecting all the questions and since I'm realizing that all of the questions are right, I was happy with that. But of course I could have performed well, even better, because those were easy questions. Like even anybody could have secured. Like 160 is possible from a good student and a really hardworking student. So 143 is a good marks. It's not an excellent marks. So let's go for it. So finally, I just want to say one more thing. Okay, this is the time that I took. 40 questions, 23 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 34 minutes, 33 minutes. This is the time I took to solve. And there were some points which I wanted to discuss. Okay. Additional sectional mocks are great. Okay. So these are the 4 points I really wanted to discuss. So maybe I'll make another video about only this section, or I'll just put in this. So let's see. To increase your chances of securing good marks, do sectional mocks. Of course the questions are coming in jumbled, but even sectional mocks is going to help you, because what sectional mock does is, sectional mocks comes for, like if you have a bot, it's great. It comes for like 30 minutes for one entire section, like English 30 minutes or quants 30 minutes or anything like that. Of course it's not jumbled, but at least you get to solve those 50 questions in 30 minutes or 75 questions in 1 hour, and you will know the idea of how to maintain time. You will, and on top of that, you're not solving it for 2.5 hours. So after 2.5 hours you won't get exhausted. You can at least give 2 sectional mocks every day, rather than it's impossible to give 2 mocks every day. I mean, you can do that, but for me, except for few students, everyone else should not give mocks every day. Because what happens is, after a point you will get bored of mocks, and getting bored of MBA CT exams is the most strong thing. If you get tensed, if you get scared, it's fine. It motivates you to do it. At least it will make sure that you do more questions and all these things. Getting bored makes you lazy and makes you very demotivated. You just don't want to do it. That should not happen. So giving too much mocks is also wrong. So giving mock every day is, for me, it's I don't do that. I will advise not to. Maybe once every 3 days, once every 4 days, great. But once every alternate day, don't do it. So that's why sectional mock helps, because it's not going to cost you too much time, it's not going to take too much time, and also you can analyze it faster. You can understand the section. Of course, it might not train you for 2.5 hours, but at least you get you learn a lot from it. You have a disadvantage, but you gain a lot of advantage. So if you can keep it in mind, it helps. Additional multiplication every day. Okay. Like I said, easy topics complete. You should the coding, all these things you should complete. Do some level of simple 10 examples, simple random 3-digit addition. some random 3 digit into 1 digit multiplication, like 345 into 4, 786 into 5 or 7 or something like that. Just do 10 examples or 20 examples every day. Now if I ask you 75 to 7, everybody can do it. The topper is going to do it in 10 seconds, you might take 30 seconds. That's the difference, and that difference matters. Like in most of the quant section, most of it's percentage. The toppers can just see the sum, like if you see some of the quant which I showed you, or if you can just, when I go through some of the questions, I solved it like 15-20 seconds. There was one quant which I solved it like 25 seconds. I saw the number, I can calculate very fast. Even you can do that, but you cannot, like, because you don't have the practice, you have to spend time writing the number and all doing. So we both are doing the same thing. It's just that I could do it much faster than you. That saves a lot of time for me and helps me, taking a little relaxing and giving as much time as possible to some question which I don't want to give time, or I can like relax and do it rather than I won't get stressed because I'm saving a lot of time. This can be only possible if your calculation is faster, and calculation can get faster like doing simplest of things. Just keep on adding. Like what happens is, let's just say like something like 67 into 35, you're multiplying it. What you're doing first is 67 into 5, and then you're going 67 into 3. You put an extra 0 there, but what you're doing is you're multiplying with single digit. So basically what's happening is the entire multiplication happens from 1. Okay, with 1 you don't even multiply. You multiply from 2 to 9. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So if it's 27 or 39 or 48, first you're multiplying it with by 8, like let's just say 48. First you're multiplying it by 8, then with by 4. So in 37, first you're multiplying it by 7, then by 3. So if you keep on like solving this 3 digit into 1 digit type of thing every day, like 20-30 examples, what's happening is you get used to this number, and rather than writing it down, you can easily remember. So 327 into 7, so 300 into 7, 2100, 20 into 7, 140, 7 into 7, 49. This is something you will get just like that. Anybody can get that. The 307 is not the toughest thing to do. 3 7s are 21, 2100. What is the number? 327 into 7, right? Yeah. So 20 into 7, 140. 20 into 7 is 140. Anybody can do that. 7 into 7 is 49. The toppers can do it like within a second because they don't even have to visualize. Okay, maybe not 1 second, maybe 5 seconds or 10 seconds. But for someone who hasn't practiced, they have to write it down and do it. It's very hard for them to visualize. They can do it. If I said it, first multiply 307, you can do it 2100. 20 into 7, you can do it 140. 7 into 7, 49, you can do it. Then add 2100 plus 140, 2240 plus 49, 2289. You can get the answer if I say it slowly. But you doing on your own is the tough part. But what does it take? You just need to practice it. Just simple, all this practice will help you. Of course, multiply 3 digit into 1 digit multiplication is not going to help you in the Mba Cet question, because it's not necessary a 3 digit into 1 digit multiplication will come all the time. It can be squares, it can be cubes. But what happening is your calculation speed is increasing because of that, just by doing some simple tricks like this. So practice like 20 questions of addition, 20 questions of multiplication. You don't need to divide, but if you want you can too, but most of the time it's more like addition and multiplication. Keep on doing that. Section marks are great. Jumbled test, no time to rush. Yeah, the thing about jumbled question is like the way usually it used to be coming into sections. So like I said, 2.5 hours, by 1.5 hours and all you get tired. So you had a chance that last 30 minutes I will choose English, or last 20 minutes I will choose abstract, because you are tired and exhausted. You don't want to give, you don't have the energy to do it. So you will choose some question which you know you are not very good at, or some question which you know even if you are tired you can solve it. Let's just say you are very good at quant, very good at quant, then you might choose to solve the entire concept in the last 30 minutes, because even if you are bored you can calculate very fast. That was possible in sectional. Now it's not sectional, it's jumbled. So you don't know what kind of questions come. So when you're really exhausted and all in the last 1 hour or last 30 minutes, maybe the most boring questions will come. Just like what I showed in I think this was the question. Was really bored, and this direction sense, I think. Yeah. This question came. It's very exhausting. So this is the tough part. So that's the reason why I said that it has to be exhausting. It will be exhausting. Like that is the tough part of this exam. So you must realize how important this time is. So you might seem like these easy questions is like very much solvable, but you have to see that I solve within 20-25 seconds. It's not a compulsion that even you should solve within 20-25 seconds, but the steadiness. that the speed that you started, it should end the same speed as well. That's the most important thing. It's not about how fast you solve. That after a point you should not get exhausted. That's the most important thing. It's completely solvable type of MBA CET exam. It is very much, you can secure good marks, but the most important thing is this thing: candidate score less than 95. So this section which I showed you, 96 percentile. What does this 96 percentile mean? What it means is, if there are 1 lakh students, 96,000 students did not secure 100 marks. A 200 mark question paper, you have 150 minutes, and 96,000 students cannot secure 100 marks. That is what percentile means. 96 percentile means 96% of students secured less marks than you. That's why the topper does not get 100 percentile. I mean, that's exact. I think is the reason. 99.99 percentile. Why? Except for that one student, every other student which makes 99.999% of students, right? So after 1,99,999 students cannot secure what the one student secured. So that's why that percentile is 99.99 percentile, 99.8 percentile. It means if it's 99.8 percentile, it means 99.8% of students did not secure that marks. So you see, out of 1 lakh, only 96,000 students, not only 96,000 students cannot secure 100 marks, which basically means only 4,000 students secured 100 marks. It's a simple calculation, but look at the difficulty of it. 50% marks you cannot secure in 150 minutes. In the topics which you have seen so many times, you know it's easy. Like you can secure 120, 130 marks, but yet almost like 96,000 students cannot do it. If I give you unlimited time, every student, like this is 99, right? 99 percentile, right? So this is basically means 99,000 students, which basically means only 1,000 students can secure more than 120 marks. What I genuinely feel, if it's unlimited time, this should have been something like 55,000 or something. Not 55, even 70,000 students can secure more than 120 marks if there is unlimited time, which shows what this time does. This is what the time does. This time is going to cost you a lot of things. If you don't have this thing, just like this is my pattern, you can have your own pattern. You can have your own way of solving it. You have to be concrete with that pattern, and you should be flexible enough within the exam, because exam can be anyhow. It can be tough 50 questions at the first. You can spend too much time in that. It's okay, because it's a tough question. The time consuming questions. Like not tough, like solvable, but time consuming, like puzzles and DI and a lot of things. What if the first 50-60 questions are English questions, English, or like something that takes 10-15 seconds? What happens then? Then you should not solve within 30 minutes. Then you should solve within 20-25 minutes in the first 40 questions. Else the tough question will be in the end, like the lengthy questions will be in the end, and you don't have time for it. So the idea of time management is what's costing this 96,000 students. They can secure all these 96,000, if not entire 96,000 students, maybe at least 70-80,000 students can secure more than 100 marks. The topics are easy. Like I said, I showed you that at least 120 marks of question, like in this 120 marks of question are solvable type, and you have 150 minutes to solve 120 solvable questions, yet people cannot secure that. 96,000 students cannot secure that. That's the thing about MBA CET. If you can get this, because what you have to give is, you have to give your 100%. What does it mean? It means 50% plus 50%. And let me just do this. Okay, so it's a simple calculation. 50% plus 50% gives you 100%, no problem. But what does this 50% mean? This is syllabus, and this is mocks or exam analysis. You can say how to give an exam is what is 50% is. If you don't know how to give an exam, you can only secure 50%. That's the 100 marks. So this is how much importance is for the mocks. Like you cannot have, like you can complete the entire syllabus. You can, like 50% syllabus is, I'm not saying this is 50% syllabus. If you put 100%, like you complete the entire syllabus, you solve every bit of it, you know how to solve every question of entire MBA CET. That shows you have completed 50% preparation of your exam. That means you are 50% prepared to get into JB, because you still have to understand how to give mocks. That's the value of mocks. It's like in CAT, if you are prepared really well, you're 80% sure that you can secure the good colleges. But in CET, if you are prepared completely every topic, you're 50% sure that you can get into JB, because the remaining 50% is how to give marks, how to give the exam. That's the toughest part of MBA CET. Just knowing how to give the exam, just not knowing how to give the exam is what costing these many students the marks. If you know how to do it, if you just time manage, if that time management is possible for you, which I just showed, just attempt the easy questions, just attempt the medium questions, ignore the tough questions. You can secure really good marks, even 120 marks. That shows 99%. I secured 143, but just seeing the question, the kind of questions you saw, it's solvable, and you can see the entire video and you see that most of the questions are solvable. 100 questions are very much solvable. That's 96%. So everyone can secure 96%, but 96,000 students cannot secure that 100 marks. That shows how much value that time is. So you have to follow the pattern. You have to follow. For that, you have to be very clear about your easy topics, very clear about your medium topics. Okay, tough topics is, ignore it, but at least easy to medium topics, you should give a lot of time to it. You should practice it, and you should be very clear about it, and you should approach that questions first. And like, even if it's taking time, skip it. If it's taking time, skip it. As simple as that. If there are questions which you can get the answer, it might take extra minute, okay, solve it, no problem giving extra 1 or 2 minutes. But if it's taking 3 or 4 or 5 minutes, don't need to solve. For 1 mark questions, okay, for 5 mark questions, of course you have to give maybe 5 or 10 minutes. Maybe the para-jumbles of type of questions, 5 sentences are rearranged, you can give 5 minutes, you can give 7 minutes, you can give 10 minutes. 10 minutes is too much, but it's okay, because you're securing 5 marks. That's okay. Which basically means every question you are giving 2 minutes. That's a okayish to good timeline. It's a great timeline if you are securing 1 minute if you are maintaining 1 question per minute average. But if it's going 2 minutes for some questions, it's completely fine, because there are questions you are going to solve within 30 seconds. You should solve within 30 seconds. The questions which are supposed to solve within 30 seconds, you should solve it. That should not go more than 2 or 3 minutes.